Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the MTEC results presentation for the year ending 31st of May 2024. Yeah, I'm Rory MacDonald, founder, chief executive at MTEC. I'm joined this morning by Neil, our chief financial officer. Really like to thank you for your time today. Looking forward to taking you through what we did in FY24 and providing some guidance around what we're expecting to happen over FY25. Here's a quick overview of today's agenda. We've got about 30 minutes to go through the presentation. I'll start with some of the highlights from the last year. Neil will talk you through the results. I'll then provide a bit of an operational update on a number of different areas. We'll then talk through outlook for FY25, include some of the recent wins and the future growth opportunities. We'll then close out with Q&A and answering any questions anyone has. So in terms of highlights for the year, I think we've done a pretty good job at navigating a tricky period. We focused on really improving fundamentals while continuing to put the building blocks in place that will enable us to deliver long-term growth and success for our clients, our shareholders, and our people. We've reported revenue of 38.6 million, which is a slight decrease of 4% compared to last year. This dip really reflects a more challenging macro environment, which was impacted by client budgets, project scopes, and generally the IT services and digital transformation market being a little bit more challenging over the last 12 months. Despite this, we've managed to improve our margins, so we've increased gross profit from 35.8 to 36.3 and improved EBITDA by 56% to 2.4 million. Yeah, we're really pleased with the progress we've made there. Our cash flow performance has also strengthened. We ended the year with a net cash position of 7.6 million. At the end of August, we had 8.6 in the bank. We're expecting to be cash flow positive in FY25. So overall, business is in a good place. We're well positioned to capture future growth opportunities as they arise. The early announcements of the general election was a positive surprise for us. It's really removed a lot of uncertainty for our clients, enabling them to start planning for the long term. We had been anticipating a sort of more protracted period of uncertainty in the run-up to the general election. So to have it announced at the end of May and complete in early July was a real positive for us. There was really minimal operational impact during this period, which was great for our business. Our client relationships continue to be strong. All of the key clients that we had at IPO continue to be key clients today. Those long-term relationships really underscore the trust and confidence our clients place in us, and the consistent delivery of high-quality services that we've been delivering to our clients for many years now. And really, this has been reflected in the latest kind of CSAT survey that we undertook this year, scoring 8.1 out of 10. We're really pleased with that, and we'll continue to prioritise client satisfaction moving forwards. Recognising the need to gear up for the next wave of growth, we've made significant enhancements to our sales operation over the last 12 months. We've recruited new sales leaders across a variety of industry verticals, including public safety, national security, energy and utils, defence. We strengthened our bid team, so there's a new leader in that place, and we've kind of scaled up that team. And really that enables us to kind of pursue and secure higher value contracts as we look to gain market share from some of our competitors. We're starting to see the impact from some of these investments last year, and sales performance in the first few months of this year points to that. So we're really pleased with that. We turn to strategy. Earlier in the year, we undertook a pretty comprehensive strategic review to ensure our sort of long-term objectives were aligning with the sort of evolving market landscape. This was a process where there's close collaboration between the exec team, the board, a number of external advisors. And as a result, we've agreed a new long-term plan for the group, structured around kind of three different kind of stages. Sets a kind of really clear roadmap for how we're going to deliver sustainable growth over the coming years. And we're looking forward to kind of sharing more details around that at Capital Markets Day in 2025. So we'll share a lot more details of that in due course. So they're the key highlights I wanted to call out. I'm going to hand across to Neil, who's going to talk through some of the financials.
Thank you, Rory. So the following is a snapshot of the financial highlights for MTEC's 2024 results, being the year ended 31st of May 2024. Unless stated otherwise, comparative figures relate to the equivalent prior period, being the 12 months ended 31st of May 2023. The government procurement market for digital services in FY24 was subdued, and as a result of the uncertainty in the run-up to the general election and budget constraints within government. As a result, sales bookings were down substantially from £69.9 million in FY23 to £36 million in FY24, Revenue, however, was only down 4% at 38.6 million as a result of the company being able to work through its existing contracted backlog. Although this fall in revenue resulted in a small drop in gross profit of 3% from £14.4 million in FY23 to £14 million in FY24, gross margins actually increased by 50 basis points to 36.3%. This increase in gross margins was as a result of a focus on improving productivity by increasing billable utilisation through improved processes and management reporting. That, combined with further cost rationalisation, particularly in select support functions, resulted in a significant increase of adjusted EBITDA margins of 240 basis points to 6.2%, up from 3.8% in the prior year. Net cash declined from £8.5 million at the end of FY23 to £7.6 million at 31st of May. That said, cash generated from operations of £500,000 was ahead of operating cash outflows of £700,000 in the same period last year. And I will give more detail on cash flows later. Turning to look at revenue in a little bit more detail, all the MTEC revenues are generated in the UK, and almost all revenue is generated by services rather than product sales. Also, the vast majority of revenue is based on time and material-based contracts, with only a small but growing proportion of revenue being generated from managed services and milestone-based contracts. The majority of MTEC's revenue is sourced through long-term and framework contracts, often over multi-year periods, allowing for some visibility of future revenue, even where sales bookings are impacted in the short term, as we saw in FY24. It is an aim of management that over time we will improve the quality of earnings by fulfilling a greater proportion of revenue through managed service and longer-term milestone-based contracts. You will see in the left-hand chart a continuation of a trend that we have seen for a number of years of an increasing proportion of revenue being represented by central government and health clients and a reducing proportion by local government. Central government represented 73% of total revenue, up slightly from 72% in the prior year, and health represented 16% of total revenue, up from 12% in the prior year. And this is part of a deliberate policy to firstly target larger contracts, as evidenced by our investment in client partners with specialist knowledge of vertical markets, and secondly, to address a more fragmented and underserved local government market with targeted SaaS solutions, which should deliver repeatable revenue over time. You will see on the right-hand chart that MTEC enjoys good client retention. The business has retained all key clients since IPO, and you will see continues to generate revenue from clients signed up over a number of years. Despite the reduction in revenue and absolute gross profit, year-on-year margins have increased by 50 basis points to 36.3%. This improvement reflects the right sizing of the workforce and adaptations to staffing mix over the year, as well as increasing billable utilisation rates. We have over the past 6 months increased the proportion of contractors in the business in order to give us more flexibility, partly because of the as then anticipated prolonged run up to the general election, which was then foreshortened, but also because of specific client requirements. Our aim is that over time, we will again reduce the proportion of contractors to employees in the business. We are looking to build on these achievements with further initiatives and progress in productivity, capacity management, improved reporting, and cost control during FY25, and anticipate that this will continue to have a positive impact on the profitability of the business despite ongoing pricing pressures in the market. As previously mentioned, sales bookings of £36 million in the year were disappointing, particularly against tough prior period comparisons of almost £70 million in FY23 and £51 million in FY22. Given MTEC's size and the relative size, nature and timing of some of the contracts for which we bid, it should not be a surprise that we will see peaks and troughs in contract awards. The largest win in FY24 was a contract with DLUC, now renamed the Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government, for £19.5 million over 3 years. And other notable wins included a £5 million 2-year contract with the Government Digital Services and a £3.8 million 1.5-year contract with the Ministry of Justice. What the strong sales booking of the prior periods does mean is that the contracted backlog of £65.6 million at the end of the year is still the second highest that it has ever been at MTEC, down from £67.9 million at the 31st of May 2023. Furthermore, FY25 has got off to a very strong start, with over £27 million of sales bookings in the first 4 months of the year, including a £7.6 million contract with the Met Office over 2 years and a £13.2 million contract with the Department of Education over the next 3 years, announced earlier this month. While we remain mindful of the broader economic challenges and outcome of the upcoming autumn budget, the strong contracted backlog provides a good underpinning to revenue expectations for the remainder of FY25. The following slide shows a bridge from statutory operating loss to adjusted EBITDA. The operating loss increased from £1.5 million in FY23 to £3.2 million in FY24, primarily as a result of the impairment of a number of intangible assets during the year. We have categorised intangibles into 2 categories: technology platforms and capability IP. Technology platforms represent the investment that we've been making in a number of SaaS products focused on the local government market. 3 of these, Repairs, Void and Evidence, were launched earlier in the year and we saw some early success. At the time of the interims, we confirmed that we had moved to the commercialisation stage of these products and reduced the spend rate on these developments. At the end of the year, we have concluded that the sales cycle are longer than we had originally anticipated, and as a result, we have decided to fully write down the carrying value of these assets at a charge of £3.5 million. That said, we continue to believe that there is still a need for these products in what is a fragmented and underserved market, and we are continuing to pursue these opportunities. Capability IP includes investments that we've made in our core capabilities, such as data and AI and cybersecurity. And as we announced at the time of the interims, we decided to fully impair the investment made in MTEC's Apprenticeship Academy. This was a venture that had been developed alongside government departments such as HMRC and the RAF, but over the past year or so, we have seen a change in demand from government clients, which meant that we no longer view this as a core revenue-generating offering, although the IP is still being used in the business. The charge in the period for that is circa £900,000. All other investments in capability IP remain and are being amortised over a useful economic life for 3 years. Share-based payments have reduced substantially from circa £2 million in FY23 to £100,000 in FY24. And the primary driver of the reduction has been the waiver of LTIP options by Rory and the group COO and other options that have lapsed during the period. We expect the share-based payment charge to increase in FY25 as the business continues to invest in its senior leadership team and launches a share save scheme that will be made available to all eligible employees. Other than the impairment, there were no other exceptional charges in the year. As a result of the above, underlying adjusted EBITDA increased substantially by 240 basis points from £1.5 million to £2.4 million, or 6.2%, driven largely by the gains in productivity discussed earlier. And we expect these productivity gains to continue into FY25. MTEC continues to have a strong balance sheet. Whilst the value of intangible assets has reduced for the reasons set out a moment ago, trade and other debtors increased to £6.7 million, up from £6.2 million at the same time last year. Included within this, trade debtors of £4.4 million are almost wholly with government counterparties, with a good track record of prompt payment and little bad debt risk. Debtor days increased only marginally from 39 days to 42 days during the period. Liabilities, including trade creditors, have also reduced, highlighting MTEC's focus on making prompt payments to suppliers. Furthermore, the group had £7.6 million of cash at the end of the year, which at the end of August had increased to £8.6 million, and the group also has no debt. And lastly, turning to cash flow, you will see on the right-hand chart how the cash position of the group has tracked over the past couple of years. Of note is that in FY24, MTEC generated net operating cash flows of £400,000 compared with net operating cash outflows of £700,000 in the prior year. Spend on the development of internally generated IP has also reduced from £3.1 million in FY23 to £1.3 million in FY24 as we have moved to the commercialisation phase of these investments. The main bridging element from adjusted EBITDA to net cash outflow of £800,000 in the year was the negative movement in working capital, driven by the accelerated payment of creditors, and we do not expect the same adverse movement in FY25. The company has also invested £350,000 in an employee benefit trust for the settlement of future vested share options, and the average purchase price per share is circa 14.5p. We anticipate that with continuing and improved profitability, improvements in working capital, and the reduction of the intangible spend, MTEC will generate positive free cash flow in FY25 and be in a position to reinvest in further organic growth opportunities and or leverage its balance sheet to consider acquisitions in the medium to long term as part of our growth strategy. And with that, I'll hand back to Rory.
Super, thank you, Neil. So for those of you who are new to the MTEC story, we provide digital transformation services to government and UK public sector. So we effectively kind of support government bodies to move from paper-based processes, legacy operations, to an approach which is digital at core, enabling public bodies to deliver improved services to citizens and generally to operate more efficiently. Our clients are organisations like the Home Office, the Ministry of Justice, Department for Education, NHS England, HMRC, Met Office. These are all significant government bodies that collectively spend billions annually on technology and change. We're really proud to count 8 of the 10 largest government bodies as active clients and pleased to support them on their transformation journeys in delivering government policies and initiatives. At our core, we're a technology services business with approximately 400 technologists employed by the business in the UK. We've got offices in London, Manchester, Bristol, Swansea, and use a mixture of on-site and hybrid working to deliver for our clients. Our people are absolutely critical to the business success, and over the last 12 months, we've made significant strides in supporting and developing our team. We launched a people forum about 12 months ago. So this is a new structure which has enhanced communication and engagement across the organisation, allowing team members to voice their ideas, concerns and feedback directly to leadership. It's been really instrumental in fostering a more collaborative culture in the organisation. We've invested over 7,000 hours in skill development training. This investment in our people's professional development ensures that our team remain at the forefront of industry advancement, enabling us to deliver the best solutions for our clients. We've become an apprenticeship training provider and onboarded apprenticeships through a new entry-level training program. This initiative helps us to cost-effectively build a pipeline of skilled professionals who align with the culture and values of the organisation. We're pleased to see the employee retention improved and reach 81% in FY24. This improvement is in line with where we would expect the steady state retention levels to remain and will contribute to stability in the organisation and continued delivery of quality services to our clients. I want to talk a little bit about the market where we're operating. So we're focused on the UK market opportunity, and over the last 12 months, we've delivered approximately 80 work streams across 30 clients in central government, healthcare and local government. Within FY24, we started to transition to a more industry-focused go-to-market structure. So this reorganisation allows us to tailor our services more effectively to the different needs of each subsector and really helps us to provide a better understanding of the industry challenges and deliver more impactful solutions for our clients. To support this new go-to-market structure, we've recruited industry-aligned sales leaders with deep expertise in specific industries, and they really enhance our ability to engage our clients at a more strategic level. They're already making a real positive impact on our business development efforts and helping us to address the unique needs of each area. We've also initiated the development of industry-aligned propositions. So by focusing on industry-specific challenges and opportunities, we're able to offer more targeted and relevant solutions to our clients. This strengthens our position as a trusted partner within each industry and subsector we serve. Our organisation is organised around kind of three broad service lines: transform, deliver, and run. In Transform, we advise our clients on their digital transformation journey, supporting them in areas like changes to their operating model, disaggregation of legacy contracts, business case creation, submissions to Treasury, etc. The work in this area is nearly always very early stages and is delivered by a very kind of small team of specialists. The delivery side of our organisations is really where we work with our clients to deliver their digital transformation plans. Typically, this involves us delivering, large-scale digital services using cloud-based technologies. Sometimes it will be citizen-facing, things like applying for a provisional driving license. Other times it will be more of a back-office piece of delivery, like a data platform or an insights platform. Our delivery group is really kind of where the bulk of our workforce currently sits. And it's broken down into these areas here around cloud and engineering, delivery management, UCD, data and AI. These practices all work together to deliver the outcomes for our clients in cross-functional teams. We then have the kind of run side of our organisation where we support our customers to run their live systems via our managed service offering and through our software products. Over the last 12 months, we've seen some really good progress in a number of these areas. There's a couple I want to kind of call out. So managed services, we've seen an increased number of customers looking to use our managed services offering. As a reminder, managed services is about providing a run capability for our clients and is built on a service level rather than a time and materials basis. We invested into building a managed service offering in, I think it was FY22, and we're starting to see this play through into our numbers and through a number of different contracts with our clients. The recent DfE STA win that we announced has a significant managed service component to it, and we couldn't have won that deal without this capability. So we're really pleased to see that coming through in the organisation. An area we've not spoken about before is our partnerships with cloud providers. This is an area we've not really kind of focused on too much previously, but over the last 12 months, we've really kind of strengthened our partnership with AWS, and that's played through into a number of areas in the organisation and is helping us to build stronger pipeline and stronger client relationships. We expect this to be an important area for the business moving forwards. We've also kind of scaled our data and AI practice over the last 12 months. We're seeing lots of strong demand for the services in this space from lots of different parts of government. The hype around AI has clearly helped with this, and is leading to lots of organisations looking at their data infrastructure and what is required to have the right foundations in place to use AI effectively. So really good to see the kind of progress we're making in those areas. If we jump onto the next slide, I'm going to talk about a couple of the kind of specific things that we've been working on. So the Met Office is a client we've been working with for now 2 years. We're the Met Office's digital delivery partner, and we've actually just secured a renewal of that contract for a further 2 years. So the Met Office is the UK's National Weather and Climate Service. They deliver sort of meteorological predictions for the Public Weather Service, for aviation, for defence and other sectors. And the weather models that they use are at the absolute core of their organisation. And one of the real challenges is evaluating the success of a new weather model. It's a complex challenge and requires sort of lots of data and input to kind of work out, how successful it's been. We implemented a natural language processing system for the Met Office to help them automate sentiment analysis around their weather models. This technology enables them to identify patterns and trends in feedback they're getting through their mobile and kind of web applications. It wouldn't have been possible to detect and get that feedback without the natural language processing system that we put in place. It's really helped them to have a kind of centralized location where they can capture that user feedback and kind of make decisions off the back of it. As a result of the work we've done on this, the Met Office can now measure the impact of new weather models in near real time, and they're better positioned to harness the power of their own data, leading to more accurate forecasts and improved user experience. Jump on to the next slide. Another example of something we're doing in the data space is with Skills for Care. So Skills for Care are the strategic workforce development and planning body for adult social care in England. We've been working with Skills for Care for approximately 4 years now, so they're a long-term client of MTEC. And accurately reporting data is absolutely critical for adult social care. Historically, it's been really challenging for them to do that effectively, and the process around collecting, cleaning, analysing their data was semi-manual, and it was very time-consuming. It would take months and months and months for them to complete this process. We put in place a solution that would enable them to maintain that data, clean that data, and put it into a structure that they could use to report their data to different government bodies much more time efficiently. We use a number of different machine learning models to do that, and it's really enabled them to get that data out into central government bodies much more efficiently, and it enables them to drive more accurate reports and empower ministers and MPs to make much better data-driven decisions around the adult social care sector. So ultimately, the work we've been doing here will help to contribute to better planning, resource allocation, improving outcomes for adult social care services in the UK. So really, really important kind of piece of work we've been doing there, and something we've been pleased to be involved in. So in FY24, we've made progress in commercialising our software portfolio. And really, this is designed to kind of address the recurring challenges faced within local government and in housing associations. We've launched 3 key products as part of our strategy, really to diversify our revenue streams and reduce reliance on service-based contracts. MTEC Repairs, MTEC Voids, and MTEC Evidence are the 3 products we've launched. Repairs is focused on managing housing repairs, streamlining the repair process for local authorities and housing associations. It enables them to schedule, track, and complete repairs more efficiently, reducing both costs and tenant dissatisfaction. Repairs management is a very significant pain point in the social housing sector. And the solution we've launched enables an end-to-end automated and reduced administrative burden for the organisations who use it. Voids or unoccupied properties represent a significant challenge to housing associations, as properties left vacant reduce rental income and increase maintenance costs. Our MTEC Voids product helps clients manage the turnaround of these properties, accelerate the process of getting them out to new tenants. Not only does it increase the revenue, but also addresses housing shortages by ensuring properties are not empty. And Evidence, our third product, is a platform for local authorities to gather, analyse, and present data to support decisions around policy and service improvement. By integrating multiple data sources, MTEC Evidence simplifies the process for making evidence-based decisions, and is an important part of helping to drive operational efficiency within local authorities. So the adoption of these products has been slower than anticipated, and we've seen, over the last 12 months, the sales cycle on these has been longer than we had hoped. We're hearing from a number of different local authorities that there's so much going on. It's difficult for them to adopt new kind of technologies because they have so many things in flight at the moment. So the pressures that we're seeing in this market are kind of really impacting the sales cycle we're seeing on this. That being said, we've signed up 3 initial customers onto long-term subscriptions for these products. We've got Barking and Dagenham, which were signed pretty recently, Camden and London Borough of Redbridge. So we're excited to have these 3 customers on board and using the products. And the engagement from them early on has been really positive. So we're really pleased to see that. Clearly moving forward, there's lots more work for us to do to kind of drive the further adoption of these products within the market. But these three kind of high profile clients to start with, we're really pleased with. So why is kind of software as a service and software products important to our strategy? So really these products are part of our broader, longer term plan to diversify our revenue base and have a mixture of service-based revenue and recurring subscription revenue in the organization. Over time, we expect that mix and that subscription mix to become larger and more important part of our organization and help to drive kind of higher margins and longer term revenue visibility. So it's an important part of our organization, something we're expecting to continue to kind of push forward on in the long term, but recognize that there's more work to do in this area, and we need to kind of keep pushing forward on it in the weeks and months ahead. Just want to kind of touch on ESG and kind of social value briefly. So MTEC, ESG is a real extension of our core organizational purpose. We use technology to improve society for everyone. And we measure that both by financial returns, but also by the impact of the work we have on people's lives. We've made great strides in the last year on a number of different ESG related activities. From an environmental perspective, we've partnered with C3 to achieve carbon neutrality by 2030, including kind of a number of different innovative ways to reduce emissions from remote work. From a diversity and inclusion point of view, we've exceeded industry benchmarks, with 23% of our team being ethically diverse, 18% of our team neurodivergent. So we're seeing kind of well above national averages in our diversity and inclusion statistics. From a health and well-being perspective, our employee net promoter score increased by 27 points. And now we've got 4% of our team who are trained as mental health first aiders, which is really kind of pleasing to see. From a skill development point of view, we've launched a DevOps apprenticeship program. We continue to invest in our sort of entry-level talent. And we see that as a really important kind of route to bringing the entry-level talent into our organization, having a positive impact from an ESG point of view. We've improved sustainability through partnership with the Good Things Foundation, where we donate IT devices to them when we finish using them within our organization, and really that helps to combat digital exclusion. So we're really pleased to be doing that. We've also deepened our partnership with charities like Coding Black Females and a number of other organizations. So we're really doing lots in the business to really push the ESG agenda. We've also integrated social value very deeply into our bids process. It's a really important part of how public sector buyers evaluate particular suppliers. So it's really important for us to deeply embed social value into our organization. And we've put in place a number of different initiatives and things we're doing to support our customers on their social value initiatives. We've also committed to a planet-centered design approach, so minimizing the environmental impact of our projects. And as part of our supply chain responsibility, we're holding our suppliers to the same carbon reduction standards we aim for, including a recent move to a B Corp certified office in Manchester. So overall, kind of lots going on from a social value point of view, and we see that as a really important part of our organisation moving forwards, for our people, for society, and for our clients as well. Just turning to our outlook, the timing of the general election was a positive surprise. It removed, much of the uncertainty that had previously delayed client decisions, and is starting to provide a clearer set of priorities for our customers moving forwards. We've had a really strong start to FY25 with more than 27 million in sales bookings, including a new contract with the Department for Education worth 13.2 million. We're confident that the strong performance will continue throughout FY25, and this is supported by both the strong start and a growing pipeline that we're seeing build in the business. The productivity improvements and cost controls that we introduced last year will continue, and we're expecting to be free cash flow positive this year. Overall, UK public sector market remains a long-term growth market, and we're well positioned to capture new opportunities as they arrive, especially as the new government emphasises the role of technology in delivering its priorities. So overall, we're really optimistic about our near-term and our long-term outlook, and we look forward to driving further growth and delivering value to all of our stakeholders. I think that was everything we want to cover. We're going to hand across for Q&A.
And we'll go to Robert Plant from H2 Radnor.
Rory, you just mentioned that the new government has talked a lot about technology, improving services, and the shift to digital. Is there anything concrete yet coming out of government or your chats with government in terms of specific benefits or areas where you think that MTEC will be advantaged? Thanks.
Yeah, so there's definitely a lot going on within government at the moment around, particularly orientated around the five missions that Labour have set out in their manifesto and then right through into kind of delivery of government. So there's a lot of structural work that's happening at the moment around how those five missions get delivered, and there's a big focus on really the technology that is required to support those five missions. So there's new mission boards and technology for mission boards that have been set up in different parts of government. There's been a fairly kind of quick restructure of certain government responsibilities around digital and technology. So they've been centralised into one part of government. So there's lots happening. We're expecting, that will then start flowing through into, new programs of work, new activity over the coming months. There's bits of it happening now, but I think the full weight of it hasn't really thrown through yet. But what we are seeing is the sort of the setup that is required to start delivering a lot of the technology to underpin what the new government is looking to achieve.
We'll go to Kai Korschelt at Canaccord Genuity.
I had a sort of couple of questions, and they're sort of linked around short-term trading. And it seems that the government sort of instituted new sign-off processes, right, for deals above $1 million. And I think a couple of your competitors have, talked about weak short-term trading because of that, in terms of, being able to generate revenue. So not necessarily about backlog, but really just sort of converting existing projects or the ramp up of new project into revenue. So I'm just wondering, your sentiment in your statement sounds a lot more positive. So I'm just wondering kind of how we should think about, why you might be seeing perhaps slightly different trends than other players in your market. And then linked to that, I guess, I haven't seen sort of formal guidance for fiscal 25. I think consensus seems to expect a sort of high single-digit revenue decline. I'm just wondering if that is correct and if that kind of is your expectation. It just sounds like, both your backlog bookings, etc., would perhaps paint a much more upbeat picture. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll start with what we're seeing from clients. So yeah, absolutely. There is some additional kind of spend approval hurdles that have been put in place in certain pockets of government. I think to date there's been minimal impact on our organisation from those. The one thing I would caveat with is there is one contract extension which has been this waiting for an approval that we're very much expecting to get, but it's been pushed out a couple of months. So that was the sort of one thing that we felt kind of impacted us over the last few months. But by and large, we haven't seen as much of an impact as some of our competitors may have seen over the last few months. So for us, trading is pretty good. Things are moving forwards with all of our key customers. So we're not having that same level of impact that you might be seeing in other places. Do you want to touch on guidance now?
Yeah, I'm happy to. Kai, you're right. I think at the moment guidance for FY25 is that yes, we would see a small drop off in revenue this year. In that context, we are also expecting an increase in the profitability of the business. As I talked there about, a number of initiatives we've got in place, which we see continuing to FY25 in terms of increased productivity. So I think there's an expectation that margins will tick up. And also, as we're able to report in terms of the cash position of the business as well, we've increased the cash position by £1 million in the first 3 months of this year, up to £8.6 million. So I think in terms of the foundations which we've built in the business, we're in a very strong position. As Rory just said, I don't think we've seen the subdued trading that maybe some other competitors have seen in the market, but we are nevertheless cautious. We think there are very strong tailwinds at the minute in terms of the government's priorities. I think we're probably like some other players waiting for the autumn budget, which is now only a month away. And our expectation is that, yes, there will be some more bid work flowing through from that. So yes, I think it's cautious guidance at this stage. We are also looking to put out FY26 guidance as well. But I think we're hopeful that we'll be able to update the market over the next few months with some positive news if those things come off.
And we've got a question from Peter McNally at Stifel.
It's just around I'm just wondering I know you had some headcount cuts during the year and your gross margin has been pretty healthy. I'm just wondering, I know you don't report utilization, but how much sort of capacity do you have now to take on new contracts going forward, with your current workforce, and how would you've been winning some bigger contracts. How would you handle those newer contracts at this stage? Would that be to increase sort of the third-party consultants, or how would you go about that, please? Thank you.
Yeah, sure thing. So yeah, I think if we look back over the last 12 months, we've definitely been very deliberately managing utilization very, very closely, and keeping tight controls on the supply demand mix in the organization, and making sure we're continuing to kind of drive bottom line performance, but also with a view to kind of what does the forward view look like, and what do the opportunity pipelines look like, and how do we make sure we've got sufficient kind of headroom in the organization to be able to staff up and grow revenue through new contracts and new areas. So that's a kind of constant thing we are looking at, day in, day out, really, in the organization, as we're looking at kind of pipeline data and contracts and things that are happening across our customers. There is a kind of mixture of different things we are doing in terms of kind of stuff we are starting up. So the DFE example that we touched on, the new contract we won there. So we're booting that up at this point in time. So we've got kind of team on the ground doing that. And one of the sort of things that helps us is that a number of our contracts, and typically our contracts are longer term contracts. So the DFE contracts are 4-year contracts. So we can kind of ramp those things up gradually with the right teams, without having to hold too much capacity in the organization, without kind of revenue flowing through it. So we try and kind of balance all these things as best as we can. Definitely at this point in time, we are looking forwards and looking at hiring and kind of what we need to be doing to kind of fulfill what we expect to be a busy 12 months.
Okay, great. Thank you. I mean, can you give us any sort of feel for where utilization is at the moment?
Yeah, it's we're running nice and hot. Not too hot, but nice and hot in the organisation at this point in time.
And we'll go to Martin O'Sullivan at Shorecap.
I just had a question on the sales booking in FY25 to date, the more than 27 million. That feels like a big step up in new bookings. Obviously, you've had the Department for Education was a big part of that. And you alluded to new sales leaders and the managed services capability. But I'm just wondering, what else do you feel you're doing well in terms of the bidding process? Where are you really hitting your stride? In what particular areas of the market are you seeing notable success? Is it cloud engineering? Is it user-centered design, data and AI? Any color there would be appreciated. Thanks.
Yeah, sure. So from a services point of view, I think we continue to see strong demand across that full delivery life cycle. So the user-centered design side of things, so the early stage, helping to kind of shape and design new services, right through into the sort of the digital engineering side of our organization, the data side of things, so the analysis and the data engineering side of things, and then right through then to managed services now. So we're seeing this sort of increased uptick there. So I think across the board we're seeing a good mix of demand in all of those areas. The AI sort of data sort of positivity and sort of buoyance around kind of AI is definitely impacting the public sector, and there's a lot people are looking to do. Continues to be the case that from an AI perspective, a lot of it is still sort of proof of concepts, trying out things, and then the bigger programs, the bigger activities are really about data platforms, data infrastructure, the underlying ecosystems required to enable AI. So we're seeing that sort of mix continue to be the case across the boards. From a demand client sales leader perspective, we're seeing good opportunities across the board. So public safety, national security, so places like the Home Office and Ministry of Justice, policing, seeing good pipelines build in those areas, interesting opportunities in those areas across a number of different scales. Different parts of kind of central government, we're seeing strong pipeline in a number of different places there as well. Health is a lot more positive than it was a couple of years ago, and we're expecting that to continue to be strong. So really, lots of different parts of the organisation are pretty positive at this point in time. So overall, I think the demand environment is stronger than we've seen it for a while, and I think stronger than some of our competitors have seen it at the moment. And I think one of the things that has been fortunate for us is that we start to make a number of changes around kind of the sales, the bid team, probably over 12 months ago now, as part of expecting general election to come up and there to be a sort of hotter environment post general election, post new government coming in. So we were deliberately starting to look at kind of what are the investments we can make, where are the areas we think are going to be important, and therefore where can we bring the right people into the organisation to try and capitalise on that future opportunity. And the election has come earlier than we're anticipating, so we're kind of having to kind of push forward more quickly than we might have expected. But we had a lot of the work done already in the organisation to try and get the right people in place. So we're benefiting, I think, from some of that right now.
And so would it be fair to say that AI and automation is a bit of a slow burn at the moment, or do you think it's going to gather momentum during FY25?
I think there will continue to be good opportunities in that space. So I think it will drive the fixing the data infrastructure, and there'll be a lot of expectation. There'll continue to be lots of programs of work around that across government. And I know that that's one of the key things we're hearing quite a lot about in central government at the moment is what needs to be done around that, because that's going to be so important and driving productivity moving forward. So we think those big sort of data infrastructure type programs will be really important. And I think off the back of those, you'll then see some more and more sort of use of AI and things of that nature to drive productivity.
Just on the quarterly bookings, should we expect that future quarterly bookings will be quite lumpy, or is it fair to say that they're on a more sustainable uptrend from here?
I think the scale of the contracts will mean there's likely to be lumpiness, but I would hope to see continued momentum over a sort of 12-month period, year on year. Well, the challenge can be that there will be a big contract that you expect to win in a March, April time, and it gets pushed out to a June, July time because of something in government. So the timing of these things can move around a bit and can be out of our control somewhat. But generally speaking, we would expect the investment we've made into the sort of sales organisation, the forward environment, we'd expect there to be good momentum in sales bookings. A touch of lumpiness, but overall should be a positive environment.
And we'll go to George O'Connor from Progressive Equity Research.
Hi there, good morning. Many thanks for taking my questions. Two quickies, if you wouldn't mind. Firstly, Neil, DSO's stretched. I mean, they're still fine. There's no particular challenge there, but do you have a target, and what's the direction of travel? And then for Rory, when you talk about future-proofing the business, you tend to talk about the run activities, if I can put it that way. And then we had a long discourse on what you were doing on the delivery side. But in terms of sort of winning, your phrase, next wave business, shouldn't there be a stronger emphasis on the transfer team? Now, I appreciate these people are expensive prima donnas at the best of times, but are they somewhat the orphans in the organization? Many thanks both.
Okay, first, thanks, George. I mean, in terms of DSO, I mean, we're running about 40 days. I think that's probably about as much as we should reasonably expect. Most government contracts, undertake to pay us within 30 days. There's always a few who are slightly over that, but I think where we are at the minute, we might see a little bit of improvement back to where we were in FY23. But no, I think we're running pretty tight, and it's pretty good in that respect.
And yeah, on the mix, I think we'd expect, the core delivery organization should continue to be the core of our business, right? So that will continue to grow and develop. I think the kind of point I was trying to make earlier is that we think, if I look back historically in our business, the way we kind of really operated was we would go in, we would deliver, and then we'd hand over things to a client organization for them to run. And it meant that some of the sort of longevity of sort of revenue for different engagements we're doing in government, we would lose out on some of that because we didn't have things like managed services in the organization to offer that to our customers. So when I kind of talk about looking at, changes around sort of the run side of things, it's about trying to make sure we're able to deliver and be a really strong partner who can then kind of provide that run for them as well. So using the kind of multitude of kind of routes to kind of build the business. The transformation prima donnas, as I believe you described them, I think that part of our organization is pretty small and focused, right? So it's the early stage shaping up of new programs of work, and that is quite a complicated environment to be operating in, because those things, there's lots of moving parts, and I think there are lots of kind of people playing in kind of different areas there. For us, the kind of strength we've got is advising, but then the delivery of it and being a really kind of strong delivery partner. And there are customers where we need to advise and guide, but that delivery part is really kind of where our strength is, and then the run. So being clear about that.
And Bob Lau from Zeus.
First of all, just a question around the revenue profile of the business. Maybe just a bit of a feel for maybe the mix in the business in terms of where we are in terms of managed services and in terms of software recurring revenues, just some sort of indications of that, and how importantly that will change over the next 3 to 5 years. And the second question was on sales, and obviously been getting some good traction with some of your changes. Just want to see if you could provide a bit more detail on what specifically is working with respect to the sales execution, and what further improvements you might see over the next 6 to 9 months.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. I mean, in terms of the revenue mix, certainly the split between services and product is a very small element. Rory obviously went through the SaaS products we have, which is very early stage. So, the vast majority of our revenue is in the services space. And within that mix, again, there's a journey we're on and a transition. So things like managed services, again, we're seeing growth there in data NI, but I would put those into single digit, maybe just getting into sort of double digit territory. But again, over time, we're seeing those. Our expectation is that those will grow as a proportion of the business. Particularly around software and products, we obviously invested in our own IP there. There is maybe, as we grow and as we develop the cash position of the business and an opportunity to leverage our balance sheet, there is maybe an opportunity to look at acquisition opportunities, potentially in the products and SaaS space as appropriate, but also to supplement our services offering as well. So I think we see this as being a transition over the medium to longer term, and overall to improve the quality of earnings in the business with longer term, more milestone driven contracts, more managed service contracts. So early stages yet, but definitely moving in the right direction.
And then on the sales side, I think a few things to kind of touch on there. So I think one part is, a number of the kind of people we've been bringing into the organization, what we're looking to do is kind of go further and further upstream and kind of engage at more senior parts of our client organization. the more influential kind of people who are kind of setting things at earlier points in the cycle. So we've seen some success from that, and that's been pretty effective. I think we've tightened up qualification as well. So I think we are much stricter about what we are going for and what we're not going for. So our success rate is higher, and I guess we're able to use resources in the organization more effectively. So we've seen some good success from that over the last 12 months. And I think generally just the quality of kind of our sales activity has improved, and we'd expect it to continue improving moving forward. So the combination of things there. I think the underlying thing that kind of helps us is being positioned as a disruptive digital kind of transformation kind of provider into this market. We are of sufficient scale now where we can win a number of the sort of larger programs of work. There is appetite for sort of organizations like MTEC, UK based modern digital organizations, to be much more heavily involved in the delivery of large government programs. And I think we'll have all seen some of the challenges people like Fujitsu will have had, organizations will have had in the market over the last few years. And I think there's real appetite to kind of continue to see that sort of supplier base in government evolve. And I think that's kind of one of the things that kind of really helps us and kind of enables us to kind of drive some strong sales success. So it's a combination of those things, but a lot of those underlying things have been themes for a number of years now.
And that's the end of questions. Rory, do you have any closing remarks?
Just a big thank you to everyone for attending today. Looking forward to updating you as we continue to make good progress. Thank you all. Have a great day.